We're going to my island for a few days.
Do you guys want to come?
Two girls, lured by the promise of adventure, accept an enigmatic billionaire's invitation to an exclusive party on his secluded island. But as the night unfolds, their dreams turn into a harrowing nightmare. Faced with sudden memory loss, mysterious injuries, and an island that seems to be playing tricks on their minds, their reality starts to crumble. What they uncover by the end will shatter their understanding of reality and leave them scarred forever.
Hey folks, Maya here. Heads up, there are spoilers ahead, so grab your snacks and let's dive into today's story.
The film begins with Frida, a broke young woman, sitting on her toilet and scrolling through her social media. She comes across an interview with a billionaire mogul named Slater King, who apologizes for his past behaviors and admits to getting therapy by going off the grid to somewhere peaceful. Slater piques Frida's interest, so she Googles him, during which her friend Jess interrupts her browsing session to remind her about buying something. However, Frida has planned to use the money elsewhere to surprise Jess. It turns out that the girls work together as waitresses in an event organizing company. Frida's manager sternly instructs her to stick to her job and avoid mingling with the guests, especially Slater. The current event they're organizing happens to be for Slater's company. At the event, Frida accidentally spills champagne on a guest while captivated by the sight of Slater. Later, she joins Jess in the elevator and reveals her surprise, two beautiful dresses to blend in with the guests. Despite embarrassing themselves while walking in heels, Frida is drawn towards Slater but ends up bumping into a waiter and falling. Fortunately, Slater notices her and immediately offers his helping hand. Frida feels like the luckiest girl at the event when Slater keeps her company and introduces her to his circle. Slater even introduces her to his therapist, Dr. Rich, who behaves oddly upon meeting Frida. Trying to lighten the mood, she jokes with the therapist. Swooned by Slater's charm, Frida spends the entire event among his group, having fun. However, the excitement for Frida doesn't stop there when Slater invites her to his private island to continue whatever's going on between them. Hence, she accepts the invitation and brings Jess along to Slater's private jet, which takes them to the island before they enter their vacation bungalow. Stacy collects everyone's phones to put away during the trip, and Vic takes everyone's picture in front of the entrance. The scene then cuts to Slater showing Frida to her room. Once he leaves, Frida goes to the bathroom and finds a dirty lip gloss with a hair strand stuck in it and a perfume bottle, which she sprays on her neck. When she comes out, she finds a dress on her bed and a housemaid in her room who startles her due to the language barrier. The maid is only able to repeat the words, "Red Rabbit," which creeps Frida out. She reunites with Jess and joins the others by the pool, where everyone keeps borrowing Jess's lighter to light up their joints. Frida can't help but gaze at Slater as he puffs his vape. Her moment is ruined when a girl named Sarah climbs a coconut tree to grab one and cut it to drink its water. Feeling a pang of jealousy, Frida almost chokes on a berry from her martini. Slater immediately comes to see if she's doing fine and later takes a walk with her, during which they laugh about how surreal the trip feels. Contrary to media portrayals, Slater's parties are more sophisticated than wild. Slater has an evil yet mysterious smirk on his face, which Frida doesn't detect. During their walk, Frida spots the maid killing an anaconda and putting it in a sack. Slater explains that anacondas are a huge problem on the island, and he ensures they're dealt with when they encroach on his territory. During their long conversations, it's revealed that Slater is in therapy because he can't remember a certain portion of his childhood due to trauma. The following night, everyone gathers at the dinner table where Frida gets her white clothes stained, but Slater assures her it will be taken care of. Vic can't stop asking Frida what she does for a living, so Slater switches the subject by asking Vic to tell everyone how he lost his pinky finger, which finally shuts him up after dinner. Vic introduces everyone to a mystery drug in the form of droplets. Two volunteers eagerly try it, and soon Frida and the girls find themselves having fun all night before going to bed. Frida notices her stained shirt is gone. The next morning, Heather, who is always high, asks Vic about his missing finger, but he doesn't respond. Heather keeps borrowing Jess's lighter, prompting Jess to write her name on it. Over time, Frida ends up having a lot of fun with everyone on the island. One night, Slater compliments her nail art during a late-night conversation. He leaves early, citing an early therapy session, and leaves his vape behind. As Frida holds it, she notices dirt under her nails and wonders where it came from. The next day, Frida goes to return the vape to Slater and comes across Dr. Rich on his way out, who becomes silently scared when Frida says she remembers him. Stacy hands Rich a gift bag before leaving, which Frida takes notice of outside. Slater's chef buddy Cody makes a fuss about his knife going missing, but the girls swear they haven't seen it. Jess once again asks everyone to return her lighter before they put on a song and have fun. Not long after, Jess gets bitten by an anaconda and screams loud enough for everyone to come. Slater uses his beer bottle to kill the anaconda on the spot. When Frida shows concern, Slater assures her that Jess will be fine, despite the anaconda being poisonous. Jess singles herself out and tells Frida to leave immediately, finding the place very weird, especially after not remembering days and dates. Frida begs her not to be negative and ruin her moment with Slater after coming this far. Jess decides to stay, wanting to be happy for Frida. However, the next morning, Jess vanishes from the face of the island. Frida doesn't remember her until she snoops around and finds the Asian maid extracting anaconda poison in a hut where the shelves are full of gift bags. The maid makes Frida drink some anaconda poison without telling her what it is, while constantly repeating the phrase, "Red Rabbit." Dazed, Frida walks out and bumps into Cody, whose chicken got loose during lunch. Frida notices everything is off with her friends. Lucas, the youngest one, has a bruised eye, and Heather has cut her hair from the front without remembering it. Frida recalls Jess when she sees Heather using her lighter during a spa session. She asks the others about Jess's whereabouts, but none of them seem to remember her. Frida begins to question her own sanity, wondering if she imagined an entire best friend. Frida visits Jess's room, only to find it has been turned into a storage room, adding to her distress. Sarah approaches Frida with Jess's lighter, which has her name on it, and shows Frida a mysterious bruise on her forearm that she can't explain. The two sit together, realizing that something sinister is happening around them and connecting Jess's disappearance to it. Frida recalls Slater's claim that forgetting is a gift. She takes Sarah to the room with the gift bags and discovers perfumes in each bag. Realizing the perfumes are causing them to forget things, Frida remembers that the anaconda poison helped her recall Jess. She makes Sarah drink the poison, but it doesn't have an immediate effect. Frida decides to alert the authorities, but Sarah points out that their case isn't solid enough, which could make them appear crazy. They bring the poison to the other girls by the pool, making them and Stacy drink it, while Frida heads to Slater's room to retrieve their cell phones. Frida asks Sarah to signal her once the boys arrive. Sarah's nose starts to bleed, and she becomes horrified as her memories flood back. She rushes to stop Heather and Camilla from taking the poison shots, but Cody tries to surprise her from behind, resulting in Sarah breaking his nose with her elbow. Startled, she pretends she's not scared and apologizes for breaking his nose. Slater also shows up, prompting Sarah to repeatedly yell the code word for Frida to hear, but Frida doesn't and continues to break the giant padlock on the cupboard. When she finally breaks it, she discovers their phones. However, there's no cellular service, and she finds a box full of old pictures taken by Vic. Hearing the code word, she quickly tries to put the pictures back in the box, but drops it in a rush. Hearing Slater's footsteps, she hides the remaining pictures inside her dress and hides behind his desk, where her nose starts to bleed. She remembers how they were tied down and pinned to the ground when the men killed Jess for remembering everything after this. With her world turned upside down, she escapes from behind the desk and joins Sarah to share how they feel after learning the truth. They decide to play it cool and pretend to be happy with the boys. At dinner, Sarah almost breaks character by discussing how women should mandatorily learn self-defense to protect themselves from danger. To divert attention, Frida distracts everyone by dancing on the table. Tom puts on music, and everyone starts dancing, during which Sarah hides a corkscrew in a flower pot. Later that night, Camilla regains her memory and kills the man who had wronged her. However, Slater subdues her in the end. Heather also recalls everything and goes after Vic, while Sarah attacks Cody with the corkscrew and fights him. Heather bashes Vic's face with a ceramic slab but gets shot by one of Slater's workers. As Slater subdues Camilla, he watches Frida run away. He sends his worker after her. Frida runs into the woods to hide, but the worker finds her and aims his gun at her. Luckily, Sarah ambushes him from behind and bashes his head with a stone. In the meantime, the boys retreat, now severely injured and panicking. They tie Camilla up, but Slater strangles her with his foot and kills her. Back in the woods, the girls take the worker's gun and separate. Frida finds a picture of herself with red rabbit nails, confirming she has been one of Slater's victims before. Subsequently, Stacy shows up and attacks Frida for making her remember everything she never wanted to. Frida ends up stabbing Stacy in self-defense. Cody is sent to round up the girls, but is shot dead by Sarah. Frida joins Sarah to deliver the latest revelation about the picture and goes outside Slater's room to make their next move. She acts innocent and cries to get the door opened. When Lucas takes the bait and opens it, Sarah shoots him from a distance, but Slater grabs Frida and drags her inside. Frida attacks him with a table showpiece. Slater uses his strength to subdue her, during which Frida remembers her previous trip to the island and how she bit Vic's pinky off during a struggle. Slater takes his time to insult Frida for not remembering anything and justifies his actions as morally correct. In the middle of his rant, he runs outside to catch Sarah, who's on the loose. He finds her in the pool and drags her back by her hair. In the meantime, Frida has already untied herself using a shard of glass and replaced his vape flavor with the perfume that makes him forget what's going on. Slater bumps his head and knocks himself out. The place catches fire on its own, which the girls escalate, and they bring the unconscious Slater outside for their next plan. The film ends with Frida taking over Slater by constantly slipping perfume into his vape, ultimately wiping out his memory. She becomes his wife and attends his recent gala. That's where the movie ends. So, that's it. If you enjoyed this movie, share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to check out the recommended movie on your screen right now. Watch it and join Mahi's movie recaps.